That's what the Misa's saying.
This is very, very bad.
We shall be robbed and crunched. Excuse me. Monsters back!
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. What is up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing absolutely amazing on this. What is today? Today is Wednesday. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What's up? What's up? If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section. Boy, oh boy. What a crazy 24 hours of the news cycle. Let me remove this banner here. I don't know what's going on. But let me see who's in the chat. What's up, Rob? Robert? Thelma? What's up? What's up? Hope everybody is doing absolutely amazing. Few, Anna, hope everybody's doing amazing. So we all know that Joe Biden recently came out last night during Kamala Harris's closing argument speech and went on a Zoom call and called 50% of Americans garbage. He called Trump supporters garbage. Crazy.
Ouch. Ouch. Oh, ouch.
Wow. What a great day.
Yeah, it sure is. Everything's so beautiful and green. Look, the plants and the trees.
Even Oscar.
Yeah.
Hey, both you motherfuckers better go out there and vote for Trump. I can't stand 4 more years of this bitch.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Crazy that Joe Biden would go on a Zoom call while Kamala Harris was doing her closing argument and call 50% of Americans. He called Trump supporters garbage. Garbage. What WTF is this guy thinking about? This is the same guy. Now, you got to keep in mind that mainstream media they are trying to wrap this up. They're trying to cover this up. They're trying to wrap it up like a bow and present it like it didn't happen. But this is the same exact guy that said this.
Question, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Question, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
He said, if you're trying to figure out if you're for me or for Trump, then you ain't black. Now, here's a collage of all the recent rhetoric that has been going on from the left. We know that we already know how they act. We already know.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. They're racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
You said over the weekend, referring to it, there's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden.
Well,
you were comparing that rally to a Nazi rally?
Look, I'm comparing it to the hate that came out of this, and I think they confirmed that.
You stand by that comparison, though, to a Nazi rally?
Look, the rally, you saw it for yourself. I'll let the American public make the decision of what they saw.
What about you, though?
So I know what I saw, and I'll just leave it at that.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of
Crazy. It is crazy. And Trump's over here. You know, he did a speech at the RNC. And it's so interesting to me that the hate and the rhetoric from the left, they're saying that Republicans are the ones with hate. Republicans are the ones that are doing hate speech. And they blew out of proportion the Tony Hinchcliffe joke Granted, he's a roast comedian, timing, place. We already talked about that in the previous video. I think it was poor timing. You know, he didn't read the room well, but you know, I got to admit though, Tony Hinchcliffe, I'm sure he got a lot of views and got a lot of publicity, good or bad. But this is Donald Trump speaking about unity.
I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation, to every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic. I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together, we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try is a big deal.
What's up, Sandra? Rhode Island in the house. What's up? What's up? So this is the rhetoric that Donald Trump is pushing. Positivity, unity, all of that. Anna says corn pop. Yeah, I actually, somebody asked if I did see the good news of the Supreme Court released today. That's I'll talk about that here in a minute. But this is the type of rhetoric that's coming out from Republicans. And it was interesting because Donald Trump was on stage. He was at a rally yesterday. And simultaneously, Kamala Harris was doing her closing argument in front of the White House, well-lit White House in the swamp of DC. She was in the pure swamp. It was like the boss sent out the email and said, hey, you got to come to this. So she had all of her supporters there. She had, you know, she was in DC, and it was backlit of the White House, and then Joe Biden went on the Zoom call. Simultaneously, Trump was at a rally, and the news, Mark Rubio broke the news to Donald Trump here.
Campaign is about to apologize for what Joe Biden just said. We are not garbage. We are patriots who love America, and thank you for running, Mr. President.
Wow. That's terrible. That's what it says. That's what it says. So you have, remember Hillary, she said deplorable, and then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable, that didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know, you have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said. These people, terrible, terrible. Terrible to say a thing like that, but he really doesn't know. He really, honestly, he doesn't. And I'm convinced that he likes me more than he likes Kamala. Convinced.
How many of you guys in the chat think that Joe Biden is sabotaging, maybe intentionally, unintentionally, Kamala Harris's campaign? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Here's a different angle. When Mark Rubio told this to Donald Trump, you could see it. Why would you call 50% of Americans garbage, guys? Come on. Are you kidding me?
talking about the Border Patrol. He's talking about nurses. He's talking about teachers. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big again and support you, Mr. President. And I hope their campaign is about to apologize for what Joe Biden just said. We are not garbage. We are patriots who love America. Thank you.
Oh, and mind you, they have not apologized. They're on a cover-up campaign. They're on an absolute cover-up campaign. Here's Vivek on Fox News talking about this. I love Vivek. How many of you guys like Vivek? I think Vivek is absolutely great.
Look, here's the October surprise. It just arrived. This is the basket of deplorables moment. That's what Hillary Clinton said in 2016, that tanked her campaign. Well, that's the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris moment right now. I am a little bit more cynical about this one, Sean, in the following way. It might look like Joe Biden's usual cognitive deficits kicked in, but the reality is we know his family is secretly probably rooting for Donald Trump, not Kamala Harris, to win because they feel really vengeful about how they were treated. So if you're in their shoes, you know that kind of comment is actually going to tank Kamala Harris. So we're going to put those kinds of motivations to one side. But regardless, it is a welcome October surprise because let's take a big step back. What's going on here? The wheels are coming off the car. They're spiraling. And now you see the accusations of the other side being Hitler or piles of garbage. You're going to hear a lot about threats to democracy in the next week. They are flailing, Sean. They understand Americans are not falling for their trick anymore. Donald Trump has a record that he's running on. They're frustrated by it. And I think it's, in some ways, a beautiful thing for our side to watch this completely come undone and turn the page on this ugly chapter of our history.
To watch Kamala tonight just...
Whoa, what happened here? What happened here? There we go. Jeez. I don't want a round circle on this. Nothing against round circles, but I just want a round circle on. You guys are saying that you love Vivek. I love Vivek as well. 100%. Hey, and if we're garbage, I'm voting for Trump. I voted for Trump. So you guys are saying that Joe Biden is sabotaging Kamala Harris's campaign. I think he is. I think he's upset. I think he got cooed out. He was running and he gets cooed out. And about a month and a half ago, he was caught doing this. Trump went on his Truth Social and said this shortly after Joe Biden said that comment about 50% of Americans being garbage. Well, I'm running a campaign of positive solutions to America. Kamala Harris is running a campaign of hate, which I 100% agree with. She has spent all week comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. Now, on top of everything, Joe Biden calls our supporters garbage. You can't lead America if you don't love American people. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have shown they are both unfit to be president of the United States. I'm proud to lead the biggest, broadest, and most important political coalition in American history. We are welcoming historic numbers of Latinos, African Americans, Asian Americans, and citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. It is my desire to be president of all the people. That's what happened. That's what happened. And MSNBC is saying, "Oh, they're finally." It's like they're finally doing their job. It is like they're finally doing their job after cringe moments of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. It seems like the media is placing everything in context. What? They haven't been doing their job for 9 years plus. This is why mainstream media is flailing. They haven't done their job. And now all of a sudden they want to place things in context. Here's MSNBC placing things in context.
And what he said was, and I'll just read a little bit here from the transcript. He just says that, I know Puerto Ricans from my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and un-American. Now, some on the right have seized that comment to mean his supporters, meaning Donald Trump's supporters, meaning all Trump supporters, half the country, saying the president is calling them garbage. The White House is saying, no, there's an apostrophe there. He's talking about his supporter, meaning the comedian. His comments are unconscionable and un-American. That's the controversy last night. The president took to Twitter soon after the Zoom, tried to clean it up, clarifying that he was not talking about all of the Americans, but it is certainly half the American public. But it is certainly a controversy that the White House and the Harris campaign dealing with today. And as the right tries to make it, we're showing the tweet here from the president. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, the president writes. That's all I meant to say. So the president said something, immediately tried to clarify it, Joe, but it's certainly a story on the right who are trying to paint this to be the next basket of deplorables.
Well, of course, and Donald Trump says shocking things every day in Fox News, and all of his apologists of the Republican Party immediately go to it and brush it off, explain it away, or just completely ignore it. Here, they're trying to make a firestorm out of something that, again, if you look at it, you look at what he said immediately afterward, which Donald Trump didn't say. He immediately afterwards said, no, that's not what I meant. I was talking about the comedian and people that supported that kind of talk. And, Willie, Joe Biden obviously doesn't believe that. We had that. I forget what state it was in, but it was during a hurricane, after a hurricane, I believe, and Joe Biden went in, and he went and he talked to the crowd, went over, talked to a guy who was a big Trump supporter, joked with him, put the hat on him, and again, trying to bring people together and even saying, hey, I'll wear your Trump cap. We're all on the same team. That's the type of leadership you want.
They're going on a cover-up campaign, guys. They're going on a straight cover-up campaign, and it is absolutely ridiculous in so many different levels. All of a sudden, they're placing things in context. They're like, oh, what he said was that, and there was an apostrophe. What? Oh. They caught Kamala Harris on the tarmac, and they questioned her about these comments. And as much as she's trying to distance herself from Joe Biden is reeling her back in. He's reeling her back. He's like, no, you're part of this.
Biden put this comment last night about garbage.
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments, but let me be clear. I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for.
Biden put this comment last night about garbage.
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments.
He clarified his comments. That's what she's saying. They asked her a follow-up question about this. She's so badly trying to distance herself from the Biden and Harris administration. She's not Joe Biden. She's not Donald Trump. Blah, blah, blah.
Do you sympathize with any voters who do feel offended by or insulted by the garbage comments?
I am running for president of the United States. I will be traveling to 3 states today to do what I have been doing throughout.
Blah, blah, blah. Same thing. Guys, if I got to listen to her voice for 4 years, oh my gosh. It's going to be some good content, but it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And then we have Tim Walz. Guys, oh my gosh. Tim Walz. He says he misspeaks a lot. I don't think this gentleman should speak at all.
I want to put it into a larger context of your recent comment comparing the Sunday Trump rally to a Nazi rally. And I would also throw in there Obama's bitter clingers, guns and religion comment from a while back, the deplorable line from Hillary Clinton's campaign, and the way that Democrats are seen by some voters as disrespecting them. And I have to ask, does that undercut this closing message of unity from your campaign?
No, certainly not.
I want to put it into a...
What?
I want to put it into a larger context of your recent comment comparing the Sunday Trump rally to a Nazi rally. And I would also throw in there Obama's bitter clingers, guns and religion comment from a while back, the deplorable line from Hillary Clinton's campaign, and the way that Democrats are seen by some voters as disrespecting them. And I have to ask, does that undercut this closing message of unity from your campaign?
No, certainly not.
What? Rhetoric like this doesn't separate people. It creates unity. The rhetoric of calling somebody Hitler or a Nazi or fascist, garbage, that creates unity?
I want to put it into a larger...
That creates unity? It doesn't create unity. Here's more of this knucklehead here.
Last night, Vice President Harris said she would seek common ground with people who disagree with her, saying she's going to work with everyone. But how is she going to find common ground with people who supported Donald Trump, someone she calls a wannabe dictator and a petty tyrant?
Well, good morning, George. Yeah, the vice president's rhetoric is the rhetoric that a president of the United States gives.
Last night, be dictator and a petty tyrant.
Well, good morning, George. Yeah, the vice president's rhetoric is the rhetoric that a president of the United States gives.
The vice president's rhetoric is the rhetoric that a president gives. Hate, division. That is not an ideal morality or enthusiasm that a United States president should be giving. It is all BS. And Josh Shapiro, Democrat, went on CNN, and he is clearly, I think he's upset because Kamala Harris was just cooed in there. They didn't have any primary. They didn't pick him. They didn't pick him, and out of nowhere, they picked Tim Walz, and he's separating himself from this.
I want you to listen to something that is making the rounds right now, certainly by the Trump campaign, by Senator J.D. Vance and others, what President Biden had to say about this tonight.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Governor, first off, just what's your response to that comment from President Biden, where it sounds like he's calling Trump supporters their garbage?
Yeah, look, I had not heard that until now, Caitlin, so I'm kind of giving you my fresh reaction to it. I would never insult the good people of Pennsylvania or any Americans, even if they chose to support a candidate that I didn't support.
I want you to listen.
Oh boy. CNN went on I got some clips about Scott Jennings. Smash the like button if you haven't smashed the like button yet. But I got some clips from CNN last night. And here's them trying to wrap this up and trying to cover it up. Just like they cover up other things, right? From 2020, maybe like a laptop or emails. I don't know.
Hey, though, Bakari, he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this, and the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not everywhere like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way. Joe Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there.
Guys, was it very obvious that there was an apostrophe after supporters there? He meant what he said. He meant what he said.
He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves. But Joe Biden has been on the campaign trail. He's best getting ice cream in Maryland like he was today. He's best showing moments of empathy.
Look at her face. He said he is best getting ice cream in Maryland. The president is best getting ice cream in Maryland. What the F?
In Maryland like he was today. He's best showing moments of empathy in Arizona like he was last week. He's best with union folks as he was in Pittsburgh last week as well. You use people where they are best. You put Obama in a big arena, you put Michelle in a big arena, and you put Joe Biden in front of a bunch of union people doing retail politics.
You could make the argument that they would be fine if Joe Biden wasn't anywhere near a microphone between now and next Tuesday.
Let me just accept the most charitable framing of this, which you just gave. Why is he sitting in front of a laptop at the exact same moment Kamala Harris is out on his backyard trying to give the closing argument to her campaign? What in the world is he doing? Now, I don't accept your framing of it personally, because I actually do believe he, Harris, the Democratic Party, and most of their campaign do believe that half the country is garbage. They've also said people who go to Trump rallies are Nazis. And so it's pretty apparent the disdain with which they hold half of the country in.
It's not true. Already litigated it in Kamala's speech tonight.
But as a tactical matter today,
No, but you don't just get to
why
say
in the
that.
world is Joe Biden giving remarks at the same
So,
time?
I agree with that. I think their campaign is in chaos. I think they're not communicating with one another. I think Joe Biden is intentionally, potentially, I got to say that, potentially, presumably sabotaging Kamala Harris's campaign. And if there was one thing that drove individuals that were on the fence, the joke from Tony Hinchcliffe, from the host of Kill Tony, that didn't sway anybody. Puerto Ricans, Hispanics, they weren't necessarily offended. I think it was bad timing, like I said earlier. But this statement from Joe Biden, I think, has more and deeper, greater impact than a joke from a comedian. Here's Scott Jennings finishing up.
Let me just accept the most charitable framing of this, which you just gave. Why is he sitting in front of a laptop at the exact same moment Kamala Harris is out on his backyard trying to give the closing argument to her campaign? What in the world is he doing? Now, I don't accept your framing of it personally, because I actually do believe he, Harris, the Democratic Party, and most of their campaign do believe that half the country is garbage. They've also said people who go to Trump rallies are Nazis. And so it's pretty apparent the disdain with which they hold half of the country in.
It's not true. Already litigated it in Kamala's speech tonight.
But as a tactical matter today,
No, but you don't just get to
why
say
in the
that.
world is Joe Biden giving remarks at the same time?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, let me just accept.
And guys, Google is suppressing this. They're trying to wash it from the intro webs. They're trying to wash it from the intro webs, but we're not going to let them wash it from the intro webs, because that statement was uncalled for. It's ridiculous. Joe Biden called Trump supporters garbage. That it's crap. Here's Byron talking about it on CNN.
Biden said that he's talking about the comedian, not supporters. What's your response?
My response is that the first statement from Joe Biden is the one that he truly believes. He does not think that people who disagree with him or his party, who support President Trump, are Americans. He thinks that they're garbage. That's a fact. And the reason, what I go back to is 4 years ago, around this same time, it was Joe Biden that went on the Breakfast Club, and he famously said that if you couldn't vote for him, then you weren't black. It's the same Joe Biden made the same type of statement 4 years ago. So this is consistent with who he is.
Biden said that he's talking about the comedian.
It is consistent with who he is. Just as a reminder, this is what Joe Biden said on the Breakfast Club.
Figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Question, but
This is the same Joe Biden. This is the same guy. Kevin O'Leary even had something to say about this with Jesse Waters. This is, it's crazy. Cindy said, every time I post a story of how Harris falsely prosecuted me in California, every time I post a story on how Harris falsely prosecuted me in California in 2004, I get blocked on YouTube. Yep. Same thing with Google, right? Right now, one of the biggest free speech platforms is X. Rob said the only reason any of them fix anything is because us patriots keep bringing it up. 100%. It keeps, and it's this I think is going to last longer in the news cycle than the Tony Hinchcliffe joke.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
The only garbage I see out there are his supporters.
No, it is the deplorables moment again. I'm really surprised he said that, because when you're called human garbage, it motivates you to get off your rear end, off the sofa, and go and vote. I wouldn't do that in the 43 counties where people are saying, it may be raining, I don't think I'm going to do it. But the president of the United States just called me garbage. I'm a little pissed off about that. I think I'm going to go stand in line and I'm going to vote. I think that was a mistake, and I'm sure it's going to get a ton of social media tomorrow. I mean, I know he wishes he could take that back. He is the president of all that garbage. Remember, he represents everybody, including the garbage. I mean, that's crazy.
Yep, that is crazy. He's crazy. This race is crazy. And it's 7 days away until Election Day. And apparently O'Leary's going to wait in line to vote right now.
I see some new people that just dropped into the chat. What's up, Sean? This is crazy, ridiculous. Meanwhile, after the Trump rally at MSG, Puerto Ricans weren't phased. Puerto Ricans weren't phased. They got thick skin.
Puerto Rico patrol for Make America Great Again.
Puerto Rico for Trump. Let's go. Look at the Captain America up there. Puerto Rico for Trump. So Kamala Harris has been on this her hate campaign. She's been on an absolute hate campaign, pushing negative rhetoric to Americans, and Joe Biden is pushing negative rhetoric towards supporters. Kamala Harris is stating that Trump is exhausted. This was a couple days ago, Trump on the tarmac, when asked about Kamala Harris, stating that Trump is exhausted. I don't think Trump is exhausted. I think I am honestly fascinated on how this man keeps going. He just keeps going and going. He does back-to-back rallies in between 3-hour interviews with Joe Rogan and other podcasters and other journalists. And he's doing all these pressers. I don't know how this man does it.
Kamala Harris
that she thinks you're exhausted. That's why you're canceling events. Are you exhausted?
What event did I cancel? I haven't canceled.
Canceling
She doesn't go to any events. She's a loser. She doesn't go to any events. She didn't even show up for the Catholics last night at the hotel. It was insulting. All they are is sound bites. So today I was at Fox and Friends at 7 in the morning. I then went to 2 different other appearances. I then made about 15 phone calls. I've gone 48 days now without arrest. And I've got that loser who doesn't have the energy of a rabbit. Let me tell you something. She should have been last night with the Catholics. So all they do is put out sound bites. Tell me when you've seen me take even a little bit of a risk. Not only am I'm not even tired. I'm really exhilarated. You know why? We're killing her in the polls because the American people don't want her. She didn't pass her bar exam. She's not a smart person. She's not a person that should represent our country. So I just want to let you know that very clearly. Go ahead.
She's a loser. Zadie says he's a machine. He is a machine. He's an absolute beast. I think he's inspired to bring this country back to where it needs to go. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris can't handle hecklers. She's the one that looks exhausted. How many of you guys think Kamala Harris looks exhausted?
We are fighting for America's future. And we understand the opportunity we have before us to turn the page on the fear.
I don't know how much longer Kamala Harris can hang on. Oh, Simply Serene says, I love when he calls her, she's a loser. And asked if I watched The Art of the Surge on Tucker Carlson's network. No, it is actually on my watch list. I'm going to watch that possibly today or tomorrow. I did watch some clips of it, and very interesting because the clips that I did see, Donald Trump actually writes all of his tweets, and he writes, well, not types. He has somebody type for him, but he says all of his tweets and Truth Socials. So they're coming directly from Trump, which is fascinating. I'm glad that you thought it was phenomenal. I think I might watch that later on today. Here's speaking of exhausted, here is Kamala Harris looking quite exhausted, if I might say so myself. She looks like JBF. Beat up. Like somebody needs to make her a sandwich. She's the one that looks exhausted. She's the one that looks tired. Here is this is something that I want to share. This is 4 minutes. This is Tulsi Gabbard just released a video about leaving the Democrat Party, excuse me, and joining forces with Donald Trump. This video, I haven't watched this entire video. I watched about 2 minutes of this, but this is it's fantastic. Here we go.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Aloha.
I joined the Democratic Party over 20 years ago. I was 21 years old in Hawaii, and at that time, it welcomed people from all different backgrounds, different views, celebrated free speech, and actually defended those whose speech was being attacked, even if they disagreed with their views. It was a party that stood up for the little guy and represented our values of freedom and liberty in America. I left the Democrat Party because now it stands for the exact opposite of all of those things.
Free speech is not an absolute.
Social media sites, they are speaking to millions of people without oversight or regulation, and that has to stop.
I never would have imagined as an American and as a soldier that we would live in a country in my lifetime where we would feel like we have to self-censor what we say, that we couldn't criticize our own government for fear of them labeling us as a domestic terrorist. We are closer to the brink of World War III and nuclear war today than we ever have been before, directly because of the Harris-Biden administration's foreign policy. Too many Americans are struggling just to afford the basic necessities of life. No matter how many times we've heard Kamala Harris and Joe Biden over these last 4 years tout and celebrate how Bidenomics has been great for America,
America's economy is strong.
Polls consistently show that a majority of the American people disapprove of the president's handling of the economy.
Guess what? It's working.
Over half of Americans earning a six-figure salary report that they're actually living paycheck to paycheck. Bidenomics is working. It is actually working.
The number of homeless people on the streets and in shelters across the U.S. increased.
Alliance and not authorized by any candidate.
That was the first time I watched that all the way through. That was good. Tulsi is an intelligent human being. Again, as I said earlier, Trump is surrounding himself with intellect, and Kamala is surrounded by madness. How many of you guys agree with that? I agree with that 100%. Patrick said, can you imagine being Tulsi or RFK? Your party hates you, then you switch, and then you become rock stars. Every time those guys step on stage, every time Tulsi Gabbard steps on stage, every time RFK steps on stage, the crowd absolutely erupts. Tulsi Gabbard is a champ. RFK too, Elon, Tucker, everybody. If you guys saw the rally at MSG, they had all of the superstars. Everybody, the Trump Avengers assembled at MSG. Bidenomics sucks. 100%. We're going to jump into two more things that I wanted to share with you guys. One is what we talked about a little bit earlier in this video, in this live. This is huge here.
We have breaking news now from the Supreme Court, which is allowing the state of Virginia to move ahead with a purge of its voter rolls. This is after a lower court had found that the purge was happening too close to Election Day. Let's get more from NBC's Ken Delaney and fill us in here, Ken.
Yeah, Anna, the conservatives on the Supreme Court are allowing this purge to go forward that not only a federal district judge, but the appeals court deemed was illegal under federal law after the Justice Department sued Virginia. And the issue here is that federal law says you can't purge voter rolls within 90 days of an election. Virginia is saying that these people are all non-citizens based on a form that they filled out at the Motor Vehicle Department. But there have been validated citizens among these people who have talked to reporters and showed them their passports. There are U.S. citizens among these 1,600 people, and they have now been purged from the voter rolls. Now, Virginia's...
We have breaking news now from the
Huge news. Huge news. I'm going to jump into the stark difference between the two closing arguments from both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
Look, we know who Donald Trump is.
First off, I'll restart this, but do you hear the sirens in the background? Do you hear the sirens in the background during Kamala Harris's closing arguments? Is that not a sign? Is that not a sign from above? I'm taking it that way.
Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election.
After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of the USA. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We bleed the same blood. We share the same home, and we salute the same great American flag. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down. And we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win.
Fantastic. Crazy in regards of the stark differences between Kamala Harris's closing arguments and Donald Trump's closing arguments. Donald Trump still has, he's doing a rally out here in Henderson, Nevada, which I think I'm going to go to. I reserved a ticket, so I think I'm going to go to. Shout out to Rue Good Nurse. Thank you for the super chat for $10. Really, really, truly appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So shout out to Rue, good news. Appreciate you. Donald Trump, yeah, absolutely. What a great speech. Donald Trump is a genius of communication. This is absolutely, we're coming towards the end of this presidential campaign, and the rhetoric from the left is just continuing to get deeper and deeper because they have no policies to run on. The only thing that they have to run on is Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump's fault. And Kamala Harris, I was raised in the middle class. Blah, 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 blah. We already know. She needs new writers. That's what she needs. She needs new writers. What do you guys think about Joe Biden calling Trump supporters garbage? It's absolutely, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go through some of these comments here. My household and neighbors have already voted Trump. 100. Yes. Yes. If you guys haven't voted yet, vote. Trump, all gas, no brakes. Kamala Harris, evil. Patrick Kennedy, really appreciate you for the super chat, $10 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Well, then I'm going. Then I'm going to the rally. Then I'm going. It's actually tomorrow. So I'm going to see how I can stream live there. I don't know how good the coverage is going to be there, but thank you again, Patrick. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know how good the Wi-Fi will be there. I'll bring a mic. I'll see if I can catch some folks at the rally, talk to them a little bit, because I think it'll be fun. It'll be the last rally that Donald Trump will hold in Nevada. And, think about it. It will be the last rally that Donald Trump will hold as a presidential candidate ever in Nevada, period. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm interested in going. I was going to go to the last one, but a buddy of mine who he had a comedy show, so he couldn't get me in. But anyways, let me run through some of these chats. You guys are awesome, by the way. The chat is on fire right now. Really appreciate you guys. let's see. I like doing these morning lives because we get the news cycle from the previous night into the day. So if you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. If you're catching this, obviously, if you're catching this on live, we're chatting in on the live. But so there's the recap of the last 24 hours. Joe Biden calling us garbage. Kamala Harris completely exhausted. Leftist bias media trying to wrap things up like a little Christmas present and all of a sudden place things in context. Make America funny again. Yes, that's what we got to do. So I'm going to jump on out of here. Janie says, we appreciate you and we appreciate all the mods. 100%. Shout out to all the mods. Give the mods a round of applause. We have some of the best mods in the business. And honestly, I think we have the best live chat. 100%. True patriots in the chat. Tom says, smash the like button, share, subscribe. 100%. If you haven't smashed the like button, if you haven't shared this, go ahead and share it. I'm going to jump on out of here. Again, catching this on replay, type in replay in the chat. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button, guys. And I will catch you on the next one. You guys have an amazing day. We'll chat soon.